Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Friday morning live. Thanks, folks. Thanks for those of you that are going to jump in here with me, and then for those that are watching the replay, thank you for watching the replay as well. Today we are talking about seasonal allergies. And I gotta tell you, they are here. They're here to stay. It's like when they get here, they don't go anywhere. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that you can do to avoid seasonal allergies, prevent seasonal allergies, and I have to say seasonal allergies because when you talk about allergies, most people that we deal with naturally think of um, food allergies. So I used to think that all the time. I was like, why do people always say seasonal allergies? Isn't it just allergies? But because we don't really have food allergies. So, but I know a lot of people do. So then you think about what different kind of allergies there are, like seasonal allergies. So just let me check to make sure I'm on the right page, and then we're gonna get this rocking. So if you guys are watching, if you guys have any questions about this while we're going over this live, let me know. And if you're watching the replay, I'll try to come back and answer questions as well. So, and then you guys can always send private messages. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. If you have any, sometimes people have questions that they don't necessarily want to say. Auto captions generated. Sometimes people have questions and they don't want to ask them live, which is okay. That means you send a message and it's all good. So if you guys are having a great day, at least in Alberta, the weather has changed for the better for the time being. Can never tell what the weather's going to be. It's actually been really windy here. And I was like crazy. I didn't know what it was like to be in. I didn't know we were living in Lethbridge. Has anyone been to Lethbridge? Oh my gosh. I mean, when it's been super windy, like windy season, it is crazy. I don't know how people live like that. Honestly, like it's so windy. We were there a couple times and it was super windy, so it was like, man, maybe this isn't for us. Okay, so when it comes to allergies, I think it's worth noting that there are things that you can do to avoid medication. Basically, you guys know that we're holistic show people business, and I think it's easy for people just to go to grab Claritin or what is it, an antihistamine. Obviously, not really I don't know a ton about that stuff because we try not to use them. In most cases, when you do use that kind of stuff, there are side effects, and often there's long-term risk. So that's something that we try to avoid. So some of these tips here, all of these tips are going to give you some ideas on some of the other things that you can do. But one of the things is, this kind of sounds funny, and I know it's really hard. That's what frustrates me about summertime in Alberta. And like they have poplar trees everywhere here, at least in Olds. They have them everywhere. They have them in, maybe there's just an Alberta thing. I don't know if you guys are listening from outside of province or outside of country. Maybe let me know if you guys have poplar trees too. But the poplar trees are crazy. Like I see they're in Calgary, they're in Banff. You can't get away from them, and they just release this fluff and fuzz. It looks like some days it looks like it's snowing with all this stuff, and it bothers a lot of people, myself included. So there's some things that you can do, and this is difficult because winters are so long and summers are so short. So you don't want to shorten your time outside, but spending less time outside, unfortunately, is one of the things that you can do. And that's not all the time, of course. It's like last week I talked about sunscreen, and I didn't mean it's not so much. Well, I talked about sunscreen, but I also meant clothing or staying away from hours of peak time when the sun is at its highest. So I didn't mean, like, I wasn't saying that you should never go outside from noon to 4 p.m., for example. All I was saying is that spend less time. So maybe if you know you're going outside for 2 hours, maybe you go from 11 to to 1, for example. So you only have 1 hour of peak time instead of from noon to 2, and then it's all peak sun time. So it's the same thing here. When we're talking about allergies, you don't need to never go outside. That's not what I'm saying. Of course, we need to get outside, and the more time we spend outside, the better. But there are better times of the day and better times of the year you could spend time outside. And so one of the things that I do is I look at the weather report, and I didn't even know this. I didn't know that there was a you can actually I don't know what it's called, like a pollen chart or a pollen graph. You can actually they actually tell you if it's a high pollen day or if it's a low pollen day, and then it's like the weather. Then they'll forecast the week and tell you what it's probably going to be. And if it's super high, then I try to avoid staying outside. Morning, Tacey. Tacey, you actually just won a prize from us in one of our different groups, so we got to get that out to you. I'm not sure if you got a chance to see that, but thanks for your participation in those groups. But you can definitely look. It's just like the weather forecast, and I'm sure it's not perfect, just like the weather forecast. But if it's going to be like it's one of those days where it's super high, then maybe you spend less time outside. And no, it's difficult. Where like the kids always want to be outside, or it's summertime, or the kids aren't even in school, for example, and everyone wants to be outside. But it's really difficult dealing with those allergies at times. And that's one of the things that you can do is pay attention, like look online and have a look at the pollen report and see what it looks like. There's different ones, not just pollen. It's like spruce and grass and I don't know. There's a few other things, and that's something that you can look at is to see how high that pollen report is, and then take precautions. So maybe you spend less time outside that day. Just for example, and that's just one example. I'm not saying that's the only thing that you can do. One of the things that we do is if we if we know we're spending time outside, as soon as so the pollen gets in your clothing. So if we know we're going to spend some time outside, and especially if it's a high pollen day, we will throw our clothes, when we get back inside, we throw our clothes straight into the wash machine. And again, I know that might be a bit challenging if you have kids or if you're always outside and you feel like you're always washing clothes, but that's just again a small tip that has helped us in the past. Because if you're outside and you want to you need a little bit of relief, I don't know if you guys are like super allergic. Some people are much more allergic than others. For us, like some summers are worse than others. We often spend summertime in Los Angeles, which we're super fortunate to do and grateful for. But some summers that we've been here in Alberta in the past has been really challenging because, I'm sure if anyone has allergies, you know what it's like. Your nose is constantly running, and your eyes, like you feel like you want to pull your eyeballs out and scratch the back of them and pop them back in your head. So there's a lot of different things that there's a lot of different things that we deal with or we struggle with when it comes to allergies, and everyone deals with them at different levels. Like I'm saying that some people have more challenge than others, but if you put all these little tips together, hopefully it can help you find some relief. So that's another tip that's been helpful for us, is just to throw your clothes straight into the wash machine when you get inside, because the pollen's outside. Hopefully it's not inside, but if you bring it in, I feel like I'm I feel like I'm scratching myself, like just thinking of the pollen. I'm getting a little bit itchy just talking about it. So the pollen's outside, and one of the other things is keeping your windows closed when it's high pollen, either high pollen season, like it could be that day, weekend, or week, but keeping your windows closed. And again, I know we like fresh air. The pollen seems like in the mornings, the pollen seems to be much easier to deal with, or maybe not even there. Like I don't really notice it in the morning. So I open the doors and all the windows in the morning. And you know what, things like closing the windows is it also keeps the heat out. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's so hot, and they keep their windows open all the time. They keep their blinds open. Well, if you have your windows closed and your blinds shut, it actually keeps the heat out. So your house is cooler. And again, I know that I'm talking about, we have listeners from all over, but sometimes we put this show on as a podcast. So depending on where you're living, I'm really talking about Alberta living right now. And Alberta is in Western Canada, and and I know there's allergies all over the world. Some people, pretty fortunate in LA, we don't deal with. I don't notice. I don't have any allergies. But when I have summers here in Alberta, I'm definitely allergic to the pollen. And I'm like, why did they plant the pollen trees everywhere? I don't know what they're not called pollen trees. I don't know what trees they're called, but why are they? I think that they grow quickly and they kind of look nice. I don't know, but they're everywhere, and I'm like, why would they plant them there, knowing that some residents really struggle with allergies. Some people don't notice them, and other people have a really hard time throughout pollen season. It seems like earlier in the summer, like spring, early summer, it's not such a problem. But there's a good chunk of the summer, so it's actually coming now, and this is late June, and it'll probably last. I'm guessing it'll last till like mid-August, so it's probably a good month of like crazy pollen. Tasty, do you deal with any allergies? I know there's some people that do and some people that don't. So essential oils is something else that is worthwhile considering. So we have essential oils. We have a diffuser. There's one right here on my desk, but there's a diffuser in basically every one of our rooms. So you could diffuse some oils that will help clean the air and help with breathing. So RC is one of them. Raven is one of them. I'm not like super versed in the different oils. That's Dorothy's end of it. If you want to learn more about oils, Dorothy has different groups, and you can always shoot her a message and talk to her about her which oils you could purchase for breathing or for cleansing the air. But those are the couple ones that I know for sure are definitely helpful. But having diffusers run in the room definitely make a difference. They clean the air and they help open your airways, so you're breathing a bit deeper and you don't have to worry about so much of that allergies. But I think the prevention thing for me, I do just recently though. Yeah, Tasty. You know what's interesting is that when I was younger, I never really had allergies at all, and then I didn't even know like I'd had some friends, or like I was always playing sports and outside and in the grass and never had an issue. And then but living in Olds here, it just started to get worse and worse, and I think it's because there's so many pollen trees here. I don't know if I've lived anywhere where there's been so many. And that's again, I'm like, why did they plant so many? Like they must know. And then they were doing like a new subdivision. They're planting pollen trees, and I'm like, stop it? Are they cheap, or I don't know what the deal is with them? But I wish I could talk to someone about them and be like, it's not just me. Like, and I think we do a pretty good job. The last couple of years have been okay because of these precaution steps that I'm telling you about, like trying to stay away from outside, especially during that peak pollen season. There's a season, there's a couple week period, 2 to 3 week period probably, where some days it literally looks like it's snowing outside because of the pollen is just falling off the tree. So those times, obviously, it's a good idea to stay away from the outside as much as you can. Again, which I know is challenging because we have short summer months, but dealing with it, and they haven't bothered me this year yet at all. And like I said, last year I think I was okay, but most of our time was spent away at the beach. But I know like there's been a couple summers where it was absolute madness. I feel like I couldn't function. My nose wouldn't stop running, my eyes wouldn't stop itching, and I'm like, how do people live like this? A little drama there for you, a little dramatic, but yeah, it's a real thing. And when I was younger, I didn't really notice it or didn't really have any issues. So some people are dealing with that now, and I know kids deal with it, but adults also are dealing with it as well. So running diffusers in the house is the tip I want to tell you about it. Using essential oils. One of the things that we did was spray our sheets with certain essential oils. I know basil is really nice to help with essential oils. So just getting a little spray bottle and spraying your sheets to make sure that you can get rid of that pollen. Washing your sheets a little bit more often. We try to wash our sheets once a week. I don't know how often is recommended, how often you're supposed to. What is happening with my green screen back there? There's more light coming in, I think, and my green screen is getting... Don't do it. See, now I'm messing with my... Oh, check out my green screen. It's blue now. Yes, it doesn't. I think that's better. Sorry. Butterfly. I'm at a window, so that our studio is all reliant on light, I suppose. So there's more light coming in from the window now, so it changes the background just a little bit. So, but I was just saying, washing your sheets a little bit more often, because you have the pollen, you bring it in from outside in your clothes. So if you throw your clothes on the bed, it's going to be in the sheets. So that's why I said we take our clothes off and drop them straight into the washing machine, especially during those peak pollen times or seasonal allergy times, and then spraying the sheets a little bit more often. Well, every day actually, and then washing the sheets probably twice a week if you can. I know that's a lot. It's a lot to me. It sounds like a lot, but if you wash your sheets once a week, then wash them twice a week if you can, and if you wash them once a month, it sounds like a little bit of a long time to me. If you wash them once a month, maybe wash them every 2 weeks, or whatever's manageable for you. But that'll definitely help for sure. And then what I wanted to tell you about this little thing. So this little thing, some of you have seen it, like Tasty. I know you're into oils, but this is just a little inhaler, and I really like it. I put peppermint in there, and you just go like this. That's it. But you know what? It sounds funny, but one of the things that I really try to avoid, especially during allergy season, is during seasonal allergy season, is sneezing. And I don't know like what happens chemically, but I feel like right now my like nasals, like they're sealed, not like plugged, but sealed, and my nose isn't running. But when allergies come in, and I start to deal with seasonal allergies, my nose like runs on a regular basis. And and I feel like once I sneeze, that like opens up the gates, or it almost like gives my, I don't know what they're called, nasal ducts, permission to start running. And so what I really try to do is not sneeze. Every time I feel a sneeze coming, I just plug my nose and hold it till it goes away, or I use this. And yeah, thanks, Tate. Tate said great idea with the little inhaler. And I honestly, I take this everywhere with me. When it's not allergy season, I put this by the bed, and I usually use it in the before bed, just to clear my nasals out so I can breathe properly throughout the night. And then I use it in the morning. In the morning, it kind of feel like it gives me like a little pick me up, kind of wakes me up a little bit, which sounds funny, using it right before bed, but it doesn't keep me up. But so carrying a little inhaler with you in your pocket. Morning, Dorothy. Dorothy's at school right now. Brenda's in here. Annette's in here. Thank you guys for showing up. Where have you guys been? I've been on here for like a half hour. Is everybody sleeping in? So anyways, this is a nice little tip. It's a little secret tip. So if you have one of these, or if you want one of these, let us know, because we have some. And I just put peppermint on there, and I carry this around. And then when I go outside, like anytime I feel like a little itch coming, or if I feel a sneeze, or if I know that things aren't like the air isn't so clear, like you can actually see the pollen flying in the air if you look for it. So if I know that's coming, then I carry this little this little inhaler, and that seems to really help. I actually went golfing with someone. This was maybe last year, I think last year, and I carried this with me, and I used it often because it was peak season, and I knew I shouldn't have went, but I didn't really have much other opportunity, and it worked really well. So that's something that you guys could use. And then it says, I was having a hard time finding the group. User error. Oh, sorry about that, Annette. This is we're always on this. Oh, what did I do? Every Friday morning we're on this page. So this isn't a group. This is a public page, but I know it's difficult to find. We're in a lot of different places, so I suppose next time in the FitFam I could put the link so you guys know where to go to check out the morning show. So let us know if you guys have any allergies. I know Tacy said she just kind of recently started running into it, and then Annette as well. Dorothy deals with it a little bit too, but we do a pretty good job of prevention or leaving. There's another tip for you. If allergies really bother you, then just leave the area. Like, go down to Mexico for a couple of months. Obviously, that isn't an option for everyone, but you could think about it. Annette, do you deal with seasonal allergies? What's up, Dave? Dave, do you have allergies? I'd be interested to know. I feel like more people deal with it than we know. You know, when you don't deal with something, like when it's not really part of your life, you don't really pay attention to it. You can't relate. I couldn't, I remember I had this one friend. Yeah, we're still in contact. We're still in touch, but we were friends since I can remember, like quite young. And he was just young, and he was always like we were playing football or whatever. We're playing sports in the grass, and I remember his eyes would like always water, and he'd be rubbing them. And it never really connected at that age. Of course we were quite young, but I just thought because I know how difficult it is now when it like really hits you, and um, and I just thought like how difficult is it for kids to have to deal with that. I don't know how well like that medication works. I've never taken like a Claritin or I don't know what else they're called. There must be a couple other ones out there. I've never taken one of them, so I don't know how well they work, to be honest with you. So maybe, but then you got to think about giving your kids medication. I don't know. Maybe that's not for me, but I'm still moving to Mexico. Dave says no allergies, but I'm still moving to Mexico. Aren't you in Mexico? Aren't you in Mexico right now? Dave's actually in New Mexico, and we joke that people don't like New Mexico is kind of like a funny state. It's kind of like in the middle of nowhere. It's not like it's a desert, but it's not like Arizona where people know. I don't know. It's an odd statement. People think it's Mexico. Dorothy says the meds make me feel too sleepy, and I like my energy. Yeah, for sure. And that's something that it's always interesting when you talk to people about medication, and most people don't realize that there's side effects to medication. So one of them is to feel sleepy. A lot of medication kind of messes with your digestion as well. I talked about that in another video, maybe not live here, but I think we talked about that in the healthy habits group. But yeah, you definitely like when you're dealing. So a lot of people have digestion issues, but at the same time, a lot of people are on medication, so they go hand in hand. And I think everyone would be better off working towards no medication. But don't get me wrong, I know everyone's at different levels. Some people need medication. I'm just saying, I feel like those are overprescribed or overused. So if you could get away from that, then you can get away from your digestive issues as well. Like a lot of people come to us and talk about digestion, like don't like acid reflux, improper bowel movements, irregular bowel movements, gas, diarrhea, and like all the while they're taking medication causing that. So I don't even know, like it's really difficult. You could do a whole lot of things properly, the right way, avoiding processed food, sometimes avoiding spicy food, which we love, packaged food, alcohol, tobacco, like all that stuff that may cause digestion issues. If you avoid all that, but you're still taking a medication that causes the digestion issues, then you can't really prevent. It's quite difficult. Let's see. Hey, Alicia. Good morning to you. Alicia's in our Fit Fam as well, and so is Annette and Dorothy, of course. Annette says my son has severe allergies and asthma. Antihistamines are the only thing that can give him a little bit of relief. And so, what is that called, Alicia? If you don't mind me asking. And then, does it go away completely? Probably not. You said it's the only thing that offers a little bit of relief. Yeah, that is super challenging for kids. Like, my gosh, how difficult that would be for kids to deal with. Like, we know what it's like to deal with that, but when you're kids, you're always outside and you're always playing and rolling around in the dirt and the grass, and then like having to deal with, oh man, that would be horrible. So, no, it doesn't. Oh, it doesn't. So reactin. I don't know what reactin is. Yeah, reactin would be similar to a Claritin, I guess. Awesome. Sorry. Easily distracted, right? Okay, so those are some of the things that we'd recommend. I know that there's a bunch of you just jumping in here, but reactin is the same as Claritin. So yeah. Does he have any? I wonder. Does he have any adverse effects to the reactin? Oh, I think reactin was like used to be like a commercial thing too, right? Yeah, it's really difficult. Then you have to weigh like you have to weigh like how can you go outside and be a kid without trying different things, like reacting. I don't know. I'm not like would never judge anyone for making their own decision. That's the thing. Like everyone's got to make their own decisions. Everyone has to make the right decisions of what's best for them. We try to go a more natural route as much as possible, but there's definitely a place for medication, and there's definitely a place for like we need Western medicine. That's all there is to it. A lot of people um, use it at different levels. We just always try to go the natural route first, especially, and then most of you guys know. Like I think that medication is overprescribed, but I don't think that really has much to. I think that's not too related to. I don't even know if you can get. I don't even know if you can go to a doctor and get prescribed, um, like allergy medication. I don't even know. But I definitely ask, like, if you're going to a doctor to ask for medication, or if or if they're prescribing something, I would ask questions. Always ask questions like, what are the adverse effects? What are side effects? What are long-term effects? How much do I take? When do I take it? Do I take it with food? There's a lot of questions you can ask, but I believe that most people just take it and say, okay, um, like the doctor says, take this, and you take it without asking any questions. And sometimes, like often, the doctors don't know, and I know, like speaking from experience, and they'll tell you like they don't know. Like they have to run a bunch of tests and eliminate a bunch of like different things, and once they can do a better job of eliminating, then they can find out what the issue is. But sometimes they have to give you medication that isn't for what you need, maybe to continue to eliminate, but still, then you're dealing with the side effects of a possible medication that's not for what your issue is, bringing up another issue. It's a difficult place to be in for sure. Dorothy says sometimes you have to do your own research. Doctors don't always know. It's true. Yeah, we definitely we have to take our control of our own health, regardless. And it's nice to have a family doctor. It's nice to have physicians, without question. But we got to take our health into our own hands, and we have to do that research, and we have to read. We have to read about they like. I feel like sometimes doctors know what the pharmaceutical companies tell them. So going out of your way to do a bit more research and seeing what other people have dealt with, and I think that would be beneficial because obviously the companies that are providing the meds, they're not always going to be 100% transparent, right? Same as the supplement industry. Oh my gosh, I was just doing some research, and I was reading some articles, like some blog posts about companies recommending certain types of magnesium and certain types of supplements, and they were like, I think one was a nutritionist. Like, you would think a trusted person, and then they were like, I recommend this type, and I read the ingredients, and I was like, did you read the ingredients before you recommended this? Like sometimes there's just very little. That's someone's opinion, but but then you have to go and do research. Like I really like to do when I do research, I try to get a minimum of three, about 4 or 5 different articles, different opinions. I try to find case studies. So I'll get lost in research for a couple hours because I'm like, oh, I get like excited, like, oh, this is what this person said. Then I pull up another one. What does that one say? And you try to find not just opinions, but case studies that represent the same evidence, the same proof, not just someone's opinion. Like if I pulled up that one blog post and someone said, take this product, I recommend it. And you're like, okay, great. Then you go and get that product and don't read the ingredients. It had it had maltodextrin in there. It had natural flavoring. Like these things are toxins to our body. So you go and you're like, oh, you go to you go to the pharmacy, you go to the health food store, and you're like, oh, you expect everything to be clean and healthy there, and it's not. And then you're taking a supplement, natural supplement, or however you want to put it. You're taking a natural supplement, but it has a bunch of chemicals in it, so it's doing worse. It's harder on your body. It's more detrimental to your health than good. So it's challenging. That's why we have to. You have to find a trusted source. Maybe it's us, or you have to take your health into your own hands, and you have to do that research, and you have to do that, put in that time and effort to be like, what am I actually putting in my body? We have morning, Tiffany. We're just talking about seasonal allergies and what some of the things that you can do to prevent. So you know what, nutrition has a lot to do with seasonal allergies as well, and it's not end all be all. All of these tips are just short, small, like all the little things add up to big things. And I talk about sometimes we're doing workouts, and I'll say working out little muscles offer big results. Like sometimes we'll do like a Pilates exercise, or we'll do a physio exercise, kind of like superheroes for our lower back, for example. Like those little exercises actually offer big results. And the same thing here when we're talking about all the little things that you can do can make a big difference. And not one thing is going to change your life, but if you can try to do some little things, like look up that pollen report I was talking about online, it's there. Like you can see it in plain day. Like some days are worse than others. That's all there is to it. So those days maybe you spend a little bit less time outside, and when it seems like in the morning for sure it's less allergy polleny. um I don't know, in the evening it depends where you are in the evening. Like here it's the sun goes down at like 11 o'clock in Alberta. It's crazy. But it's still hot here by 6 p.m. But if I compare that to LA, for example, it starts to get a little bit cooler. But it's not so like hot and cold. It's like at 10 o'clock and 9 o'clock in the morning, it's like 75 degrees. And here it's quite cool. It's like almost desertish here because we're close to the mountains. But it's quite cool in the morning. But here it stays hot later until like 6 p.m. It's still hot, but then it cools down at like 11 midnight when I'm sleeping. So of course it depends on where you're at or what you're doing. But if you put some of these little things together, like checking out when the pollen report is really high, and maybe spending more time outside in the morning, and then later in the evening, if you want to stay up till 2 in the morning. It's probably not going to work out great if you have kids, we know. But like I said, we talked about some of the things that, like washing your clothes a bit more often and throwing them in the wash machine as soon as you get home so that pollen isn't in and around the house. And then running diffusers on a regular basis. We have diffusers in every room, and they run almost all day. I know it sounds like a bit much, but if you're working near a desk, put your diffuser on, for example. Or if the kids are playing in a room, put a diffuser on that's going to clear that air. And if you need some ideas on what oils to use that will help with that, let us know, and we'll shoot some over to you. We'll get Dorothy to send some too. And then my little secret weapon I told you guys about, this is really cool. And I carry this with me all the time. So that's something that you guys can consider as well. Who we had jumped in here? Deanna jumped in here, and I got another notification, but it's people that are already watching. Anyways, I'm going to wrap things up here. So it seems like a quiet group this morning. I don't know if it's the subject. Thanks for the tags, Dorothy. I don't know if it's the subject. I think it is like an odd subject. It's not something that most people talk about. I'm not sure why, but it's common, and people are going to start talking about it a bit on social media. So I thought we'd try to get to it early, and it's definitely something worth considering. Is some of the things that you can do to avoid that's the only thing I picture is like, you know what I think of as Hitch, Will Smith in Hitch. When he was it Robitussin? I think he was Robitussin. Dave, do you remember? He was I think he ate some fish or something. He's allergic to it, and his throat started to swell up, and his eyes were and he was drinking Robitussin. That's what I picture when I'm like allergy season. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I feel like pulling my eyeballs out and like scratching them and then popping them back in. All right, everyone. That's all I have for you. So I don't have much else this week. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Hope the sun is shining. And if you guys have any questions, if we can help out with anything, let us know. We did a launch in our private group. Our launch went absolutely amazing. It's still going. We got a bunch of orders that are going out today, and we're super grateful for that. So if you missed that launch and are interested, shoot me a private message or check out some of our private groups. We got a CTP private group and a MAG private group, so you can definitely get in on that if you're interested. But those packages are going out today, and they're going bonkers. So thank you all so much for your support in that regard. If we can help you out with anything at all, nutrition, fitness, mostly a lot of people come to us for digestion, energy, stress levels as well. So let us know if we can help. Have a wonderful day, and we'll catch you. I'll be back here next week, same time, same place. Otherwise, we'll be posting as regular online. Have a great day.